All right, folks, we are back for the last orientation module, and I have with me to help the great Miss Shenzi. Yes, because she had her bark collar put on, and now she's all stressed out. Don't worry, it doesn't shock her. It just makes a noise when she barks, and she doesn't like it. So she's all snuggled up. So let's go through the grading policy for this class. So you have 15 multiple choice questions. Multiple choice quizzes, each worth 15 points. They are timed, usually 40 minutes that I give you, which is not enough time to look up every question, but should be enough time sufficient to answer them all. Then you have, oh, by the way, on those multiple choice quizzes, I do grade them on a curve, if you will. So let's say that the highest score for that quiz was a 13 out of 14 or 14 out of 15. What I do is I just bump everybody's score up by a point or two. But if I have lots of students, 2 or 3 students even or more that are getting a 15 out of 15, then I won't bump the scores up. So that's my version of a grading on the curve. Then you have 4 unit essay exams. Those are open book, no time limit, but you can only use course material on them. And they will be posted usually on a Saturday and due on a Wednesday. So you'll have lots of time to get them done. And then you have 225 points worth of discussion boards. So let's talk about the discussion boards real quick. So the way that I work this, number one, I like to make discussion boards due on the weekends because I've got a lot of students who are working during the week and they do most of their homework predominantly on the weekend. But I can't really make the discussions and the replies all due like on a Saturday because the problem is if everybody's waiting to post on Saturday, it's hard to get your replies to other students done. So I open each discussion assignment except for the last one. The very last one is an exception, but each of the discussion assignments are open for 2 weeks. So in the first week, when it opens on a Monday, and your answer, your homework is due on Sunday, right? And then in the second week, it's still open, and your replies are due by the following Sunday. So week 1, you work on the answers. Week 2, you can work on the replies. However, each week, a new discussion set of questions opens. So that means there's overlap, right? So in week 2, you're working on your new homework questions, and you're working on the replies potentially for your week 1. I will say that, this does make it somewhat difficult sometimes to keep track of what have you done. You might want to keep some sort of log. Yes, I've completed the replies for week 1, moving on. You can always go into a discussion in the little search function. You put your name and it'll put up everything that you've posted for a particular discussion. So you can go back and check. But again, there is a method to my madness in terms of keeping things open for 2 weeks and having that overlap. And that's to have more time for more robust discussion. Okay, so each discussion is worth 15 points. You get 6 points for answering the questions, 500-word minimum. That's for the entire thing, not for one question, but for the entire thing. You do have to cite your sources. That means the book or the lecture or supplemental reading. And then you do 2 replies. Each are worth 3 points, 250 words for each of the replies, right? And the point of the replies is not, I'm going to say it again, is not to do a peer review of your fellow students' work. It's not about whether they wrote it well, whether they had lots of grammar issues. It's not about how well they explained it. It's to engage in a discussion of the course material. So you can add to the discussion your additional opinions. You can bring in additional research if you want, not required. You can, bring in something from the book or a different perspective that they maybe didn't think about or consider in their discussion post. But you're supposed to be engaging in a discussion of what we're learning about, not reviewing one another's work. Okay, so 225 points is required, but 255 points will be posted. So that means you can skip up to 30 points 2 discussions, each worth 15, or week 8 discussion is a lot of homework attached to that one. So I make that one worth 30. So if you skip that one, that's all you get to skip. So 30 points. And then also, when you skip one, what will happen is I will mark it as excused in the grade book. So it doesn't actually get tabulated in your final grade. Now, what happens if you don't skip anything? If you don't skip anything, then what I do is I still grade the last 2 discussions for the semester, but I will mark them excused, and I will move those graded points over to the extra credit column up to 20 points. Okay, so you can't, there'll be other opportunities for extra credit, so don't stress if you want to use the 2 excused. I'll give you some other ways to earn extra credit, but that's just a heads up on that. So kind of review, what your post should and should not do, what your reply post should and should not do, right? I gave you some helpful hints, and keep that in mind as you're working on your weekly homework discussion posts. All right, that's it for now. Again, if you got additional questions, call me, text me, email me. Tons of way to get a hold of me. And now Shinzi and I are going to go chill out. All right, have a good week, people.